Hi, Pat the Podcast Editor here. We've all had to deal with the unpleasant experience of the dreaded cold call. But selling to your customers doesn't have to feel like that. In today's episode, Dan and Lloyd talk you through how to actually make your clients enjoy your pitching process from first-hand experience.
So that was the first small realization of, actually making the other people I'm speaking to enjoy that process of us having a conversation is the first realization, they seem like they're enjoying this chat because I'm asking them questions.
Yeah. And Lloyd explains his biggest pet hate with people trying to sell to him as a CEO.
It was just such a negative experience. I will never do business with that business.
I mean, you were polite to him. You're not one of those people.
I was really polite, and I said to him, I'm really sorry. You sound like a lovely man, and I'm sure you are, but this isn't something we do, so I'm not going to buy anything from you.
Now, before we dive in, we'd like to take a second to thank our sponsors, Adobe Express. Adobe Express allows you to quickly and easily create standout social graphics, logos, flyers, and more on web and mobile. Click the link in the description to try Adobe Express today. Right, let's get stuck in. This is episode 141 of the Business Anchors podcast.
We're just a couple of business anchors. Welcome to the Business Anchors podcast. This jingle is slightly too long.
How can you make customers enjoy the process of you selling them stuff? And why does it even matter, Dan?
To answer that question, I feel like I need to tell you a bit of a story.
Oh, straight into story time. I like it. Okay.
So
get comfy, everyone.
Strap yourselves in. So I want to tell you a bit of a story about my first experience of selling our services.
Okay.
My first traumatic experience of selling our services.
Oh, shit. Okay. A horror story.
No, because this feeds into how, to answer your question.
Yeah.
So when we first started the business, I remember one of the key pieces of advice that Dad gave me was you need to get out there and meet people. I think because I was so ingrained in social media, loving social media, and obviously my responsibility was to go out and get sales for the business. I thought, I'm going to do loads of stuff on social media, and I was learning all about how to grow an audience on Twitter and Facebook at the time. And I would just be in our parents' spare room on the computer all the time, and Dad said to me, you need to go out there and meet people, which makes sense.
Promise me you'll go and meet people.
So that's exactly how I'd say it. So he had a friend who was one of the chairwomen in this weekly networking event meeting. Where you go. We've talked about it early on in the episodes about networking. Go listen to that. One of our first episodes.
Classic. Have fry-ups, talk with a load of people. Everyone says they're busy. That type of thing.
Yeah, that type of thing. I'd never experienced one of these before, so I had no context of. Dad kind of gave me a bit of an insight, but anyway. So I drive to this thing in the morning, and I have with my freshly printed business cards.
Nice. Do they have a spelling mistake in the email address like the first ones I printed for myself? No? One step better than me then. Yeah. Here's a business card. You will never contact me because I've spelt my email address wrong.
You got hundreds printed. So I turn up to this thing. One in a suit and tie.
Good. No,
nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that.
Two with my freshly printed business cards. I get there really quite nervous. And it was at a casino at 6:30 in the morning.
At a casino? Yeah. You couldn't, it was a casino?
No, you couldn't gamble, Lloyd.
I was going to say. Yeah, just have a fry-up, play some blackjack.
There was upstairs. There was a place where this meeting happened,
like a restaurant within the casino.
Yeah.
Thing. Okay.
So I go up there.
Sounds so shit already. I'm sorry. This is tragic.
I go up there, and I got there obviously well early because I wanted to be polite and stuff.
Yeah.
So they're still setting up. So I sort of stand there awkwardly, get a coffee.
There's people leaving from the night before. From the casino.
Yeah. From memory, there was some really lovely people there. Because obviously I looked really nervous and stuff. I met first person I met was I won't say who it was, but ran an embroidery company, and he sort of took me under his wing and explained stuff. And I was like, what a nice bloke! He's explained what happens and stuff. Obviously, my heart was racing because the main thing I was nervous about was the standing up, speaking about what we do for 1 minute thing. Because Dad told me about that.
Yes.
And he explained it, and I was thinking, oh my days, what am I going to say we do?
For listeners that don't know, at these traditional networking meetings, a lot of them are breakfast networking meetings. You kind of all sit down, you start eating your breakfast, and then one by one goes round in a circle. You
Yeah.
stand up for a minute and introduce yourself and talk about your business, which you can tell going around those circles. I've seen a lot of extremely nervous people,
Yeah.
and
I was one of them.
Yeah, and I know I was a few times at those
Also,
sort of meetings.
because it was early on in our business, we hadn't done much.
Yeah,
Like the whole point of going there was to try and get our first customers. So to go up and stand up and say what we do, we hadn't done anything.
Yeah.
Other than made a website. And
now you'd be like, "Can I have 45 minutes?"
yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, 1 minute was challenging. At the time.
So was taken under the wing by this bloke, really lovely. I obviously had no idea how I was supposed to be selling myself. I'd had experience in previous roles of building relationships and stuff, but for some reason I thought it was a good idea, first of all, to hand out my business cards like they were flyers.
Yeah.
So chatting to these people, I thought you just give your business card to them. So at the start of the conversation, shove business card in their face.
There you go, have that.
Probably not a great start to the
Mm-hmm.
to the chat, but yeah, did that. And then proceeded to, before the breakfast, you go around and talk to people. And I basically thought, right, this is my opportunity to talk at people and tell them what I do. So everyone, I'd sort of say, hello, how are you? And they're like, what are you doing? And then I'd spend 5 minutes saying, doing like, we do this, we do that. Obviously hadn't done much, but so I talked at people a lot. And funnily enough, that approach didn't really win many new customers because I was kind of just talking at people.
Yeah.
And then did the 1 minute thing. It's horrendous, like so scared.
Yeah.
And did that. And it ended up going to this breakfast networking thing for a number of months and eventually realized that the whole like talking at people, what you do, wasn't a good approach.
Yeah.
So started to realize that actually asking questions and like actually building real. It sounds so stupid talking about it now, but when you're nervous and you haven't done it before.
Yeah. I think in that situation, initially, you're nervous and think you have to be a certain way. And then you realize after a while, if you're just a normal human and just have normal conversations
Yeah.
and don't constantly try and sell yourself,
Yes.
that's the best way to potentially
Yeah.
do business with someone.
And so that was the first small realization of, actually making the other people I'm speaking to enjoy that process of us having a conversation is the first realization, like, they seem like they're enjoying this chat because I'm asking them questions and that kind of thing. And then started to win first training thing with some people from that group. Again, a huge learning curve. I won't go into loads of detail, but I basically spent like 2 months prepping this training that was way too complex and way too much to do in the session and stuff, but learned from that.
Yeah.
But over that time period, started to really learn how, making people enjoy the conversation, asking them questions and stuff, rather than just trying to sell at them was a good approach. And also I experienced new people coming to the group doing what I used to do, and I thought that was a terrible approach.
That's the thing. Then you see it from afar, don't you? You're like, oh shit, that's what I've been doing. That's what it's like to be faced with me when I've been going up and just talking at these people and trying to sell them.
Exactly.
Sell them stuff that we're doing.
And over time, so improved that, realised that's the good approach. Won some all right local businesses, did some good work for them. We did. And then I told the story in last episode, but we wanted to try an innovative new approach to marketing. So we made this testimonials video that was very creative and interesting to watch. And talked about that in last episode.
People enjoyed it.
Yeah, people posted it online. It worked really well. And that was the second realisation that I realised that was a piece of marketing that worked really well because it tied in two things. One, the people watching that creative testimonials video actually enjoyed watching it and consuming it. And you could tell by all the reactions. Lots of people were commenting saying, this is really entertaining and fun to watch. But it also tied in a highly strategic sales-focused message that actually sold what we did. So that was really the big light bulb moment for me and for us, that like you can actually convince people to buy your products and services in a way that they actually enjoy.
Yeah.
Completely in contrast to me first at that networking event trying to sell stuff and people not really enjoying the process, to get into a point where we were understanding how to create content and marketing campaigns that people enjoyed consuming.
Also, being able to sell your products or services in a way that the potential customers enjoy, the massive benefit that we talk about here at Knowlton, we see again and again, is the long-term positive effect. So Dan going and shoving his business card in people's faces, their long-term feeling for the future is like, oh, there's a guy that like just
what's he care
talks
about?
at me and
Trying
tries
to
to sell me this thing. Like, they're never going to work with Dan or the future brilliant Knowlton team. Or, maybe 10 years later it might be. Whereas if you have a sales process or a marketing process where people are enjoying interacting with your business or your people or your brand, they might not be ready to buy your thing now. Like you're selling squash rackets. It's like, oh, I don't actually play squash. But if they leave that marketing or sales interaction feeling positive, like, oh, that was a really funny ad I just watched, or that guy I met was so lovely, when someone asks them to take up squash a year later and they're like, actually, yeah, I might give that a go, they're going to remember you and they will be a customer of your business. Whereas if you go down the shit route, and we can talk about this when it comes to sort of marketing online and social ads, all that sort of thing in a moment, but if you go down that route, it's just like, oh, well, I'm never going to do business with them. That was a really terrible experience. Cross those off the list of people that I will ever give money to.
Yeah. I think those early moments of doing a really terrible job and feeling rubbish about trying to market and sell our business in the early days really ingrained in me how not to do it, which again helped us eventually discover that unique approach to marketing that people enjoyed consuming. And then after discovering that, we then went on to work with some other local businesses to implement that new approach to marketing where it was creative enough that people enjoyed it and it delivered a good return on investment. And that's sort of how we started our unique offering to the world of producing really creative marketing campaigns that people enjoy consuming and that generate a trackable return on investment in terms of sales, leads, and that kind of thing. And that was kind of our journey of discovering how not to do it and how to do it.
I was just thinking recently I've had a really bad experience. Someone called the office and they were trying to sell me something. It was a local business. And I said, oh, well, actually, we've got a policy where we don't actually do any business with people that cold call the office, because we get so many calls. It takes up so much of our team's time. It's not an efficient use of anyone's time. So we don't do that. And then he started lecturing me on why we should do business with him, and sort of saying, well, how do you expect me to sell my stuff to you then if we're not allowed to call? And firstly, I was thinking like, well, that's not for me to work out, or my priority, how you can sell to me.
Sounds like a you problem, mate.
Yeah. Firstly, that's definitely not my problem. That's for you to solve. And that's not my responsibility. Sorry. Yeah, I should really prioritise working out how you can sell to me and how I can improve your business. You're right. But secondly, like, give me that lecture of why we should let him sell to us on the phone.
Yeah.
Was just such a negative experience. I will never do business with that business.
I mean, you were polite to him. You're not one of those people.
I was really polite, and I said to him, I'm really sorry. You sound like a lovely man, and I'm sure you are, but this isn't something we do, so I'm not going to buy anything from you. And it was really polite with him, but I know that we'll never do business with them because that was just a horrible experience for me. To get that phone call, say, oh, I'm really sorry, but being polite, really sorry, we don't do business over the phone like this because it's not an efficient use of any of our time. And then to have someone lecture me why we should, it makes absolutely no sense.
I feel like one of the biggest ways companies get it wrong is they kind of they don't do a combination of marketing and sales. The sales element really just sifts into all the marketing. So rather than like marketing to make people attract and pull those opportunities towards you, you're going out there and trying to talk at people and sell them stuff, just like that example, rather than actually trying to build some kind of rapport with people before selling to them.
One more example of how not to do it that links into then the kind of digital marketing world and social marketing world and that kind of thing is,
go on.
I about a year ago walked into an oak furniture land.
I've seen the adverts.
I don't know if you've ever.
They're like, and the adverts are like tapping on the furniture.
Isn't it like knock on wood or something? Oak. Anyway, I was looking for some oak furniture.
So you're in the right place.
Where shall I go? Oh, Oak Furniture Land. Sounds like a theme park. Must be bloody brilliant. Walked in. Certainly wasn't like a theme park.
It was the opposite.
Walked in with my family, my wife and my son, my young son.
Yeah. And
was greeted by an old man. Looked very frail. Looked quite weird, to be honest, but I'm not going to judge him on his looks. And he sort of said hello.
Did he pounce on you?
Yeah, sort of got up straight, but he had a stick, so got up, tried to get up quickly, couldn't really, but still headed for us. And sort of said, "Oh, any help you need, come to me. What are you looking for?" And I sort of politely said, "Oh, just having a look at the moment, thank you. We don't
piss off."
That's basically, no, we don't need any help. But if we do, I'll make sure I come straight to you.
Yeah.
All right." And then we started walking around, and I noticed he's just sort of slowly following us, and just kind of looking back, like, you know, that awkward smile of hello, sort of saying, "Sarah, that guy's just there, just kind of looking at us." And then there was an upstairs, so I kind of thought,
strategically,
I mean, that guy is walking with a stick. He's not going to keep up with our pace.
Oh, he didn't go up the lift.
So we walked up the stairs, thought we'll have a look upstairs, see what's up there. He won't be able to. And then we had a bit of freedom there, and then we hear this. It was like a horror story. This tapping, tap, tap, tap. This walking stick, and then he's thinking, oh, he's coming again. Then he's, so what do you think of this one? This one's got a 7-year guarantee, and I'm thinking, no. Nothing like what we're looking for. Don't need any information.
But what are you looking
on
for?
this.
He asked you, Lloyd, at the start.
Yeah, what are you looking for? So I'm looking for
You
a
to go
relaxed
away.
process of browsing this furniture to see if there's anything we like without any assistance.
He did not say that.
I didn't say that, obviously.
No.
That's what the voice in my head sounds like. No, don't need any help. Thanks for just having a look. Then move on. Then you obviously get round the corner and then hear this tapping. Leo's like, "Oh, that man's back." I'm like, "Yeah, fucking man's back." Anyway, so that man, obviously, probably a very nice human. But the way that business operated, they had a salesperson following us around that offered us no value, and the only goal was to sell to us right then, not to help us. There was no helping. We didn't need to know about the 7-year guarantee for a dining table when we were looking for a chest of drawers. But he was coming around, tap, 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 following us. "Oh, do you need any help now?" "No, still no help. We said we'd come to you."
Get the fucking picture, mate.
Yeah, we're literally running away from you. And I think this is the link into kind of, I guess, the digital world and marketing and social. It's like, a lot of people put loads of money playing the numbers game behind these shit ads that follow you around the internet, tap, tap, tapping behind you. You're hearing that walking stick. It's like rubbish ads that just follow you around, and they're just playing a numbers game. Well, if we just show this to millions of people, we're going to get 100 people that buy it. And I think it's such a short-term mindset.
Yeah.
And it because in reality, that guy, he probably followed a few more people tapping around. He might have sold £2,000 of furniture that day.
Yeah. But
he probably deterred 10 families from ever coming back that would have bought £100,000 of furniture in the next 5-10 years. Yeah. And I think this whole I guess my whole point is you can get short-term sales from doing shit stuff that may look good in the short term, but really, if you can get your customers to enjoy the sales and marketing process like we do, which is our speciality with our business, basically, it means that you get the massive long-term benefits, even when people aren't ready to sell. So I wasn't ready to buy a dining table that day. Now I'll never go back there because it was so shit. But if that guy was really helpful and just kind of like, "Oh yeah, let me know if you need anything," it was just lovely and sort of waved us goodbye.
That was a nice experience.
Yeah, I would have gone back there. I would have bought a dining table when I needed it and spent £1,000 on a dining table. I think that's what people need to be thinking about with their marketing. Not everyone's going to be ready to buy your product, but if you just play the numbers game, put shit in front of people, they're not going to come back in the future. You're deterring people from doing business with you. Even if you get a few sales in the short term.
I feel like the digital version of this man, of the tap, tap, tap man, is like unskippable ads on things like YouTube and Facebook, or mid-roll ads that you can't skip. Like the how disruptive they are. I'm ready to watch something really good and you can't skip them. This is really sad, but I look away so I don't look at them when they're on.
You told them. I think you should write a strongly worded letter to YouTube. Just so you know, when I have unskippable ads, I turn my back.
No, but
They'll be quaking in their boots, Dan.
so that's an example of like the digital version of that tap 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 man is like disruptive, annoying ads that you can't get rid of. But I guess the opposite of that, like you said, the way that can be done well, which is what we do, is something going in your feed that you actively enjoy consuming enough to like tag your friends and other people that you're like, oh, have you seen this? Like that's what we're aiming for with the campaigns we're running. Our customers, ideal target market, watching something, tagging their friends and going, this is brilliant. But when you watch the ads, it's really selling the product and service in a really creative way that people enjoy consuming. That's what we're
And I won't
focused
go
on.
into the detail of this as well, but as part of our strategy when we run paid campaigns, we make sure we remarket only to the people that are really interested. So if you've watched an entire 45-second video we've created, or if you've watched more than, say, 75% of it, that's who we're going to retarget. People we know are interested. The people that aren't interested yet, it's like, oh, fine, yeah, we won't keep following you around the internet. Off you go, that's fine. But retargeting people you know are interested, you know are enjoying the experience, and build that really positive experience for when they are ready to make that purchase decision. And that might be a purchase decision as in you work B2B and you might be selling services worth six figures and doing contracts like that. Or it might be that you're selling a product that's £3.99, but that it's the same kind of thing of you can either put people off for life or you can leave people feeling really positively.
So I want to dive into some examples of the types of advertising and marketing that I think are really doing it right, and some examples of brands and stuff. Because I think, you know, we've talked about Stickman and examples of like that's really haunted us, that's made us discover this innovative approach to marketing. I think there's lots of other brands out there who are really, and types of advertising and marketing that are doing it right. So there's one type of sort of marketing that I really love and that people actually get excited to consume, which sounds mental, but it's true.
Yeah.
Christmas ads.
Yeah.
So like you hear the way people talk about Christmas ads, right? Especially in the UK, it's kind of part of our culture. When it gets to Christmas, everyone's like, I'm really excited to see the John Lewis ad or the Audi ad.
Yeah. It's crazy to think people are excited about being sold to.
Yeah. This is what we're talking about. This is this whole, but
how brilliant is that?
Yeah.
That is crazy that they've managed to do that.
Yeah. And I've actually got some data around this because I did a talk in Romania a few years ago at an event called Digitalium, and I was speaking about this. And the Advertising Association did a survey thousands of people and got some data on Christmas ads. So the insights they shared, 47% of people have been moved to tears by a Christmas ad they've seen or heard. So like you can tell, like one of the lessons from why do Christmas ads work in the UK, because it's triggering some kind of emotion. It's making people feel something. And you can like, we've all seen John Lewis ads and stuff, and like I've like welled up at, you know, they've got a really emotive story to them.
Also, just on John Lewis, think of all John Lewis's competitors. They've all just been failing over the years. Yeah. But John Lewis is still around. Yeah. And I think John Lewis and the position of John Lewis it's in a really challenging situation where the high street's dead and retail is dying basically. But John Lewis is still here. Yeah. And I think that's because you don't hear the tap of the walking stick with John Lewis. They've got it right, and they've made people really love their brand, which again is a crazy thing to think people like, oh yeah, I buy John Lewis. I love those adverts. Yeah. Really weird, but great.
And I think so this is even more sad from this survey. So what percent of people do you think have stated in the survey that they actually changed their plans to catch the premiere of the most anticipated Christmas ad? Change their plans.
Well, I would hope very few people.
16% of people change their plans to watch I mean, that is really sad.
Yeah.
But I think it's...
but I know we're saying really sad, but what an amazing thing to have achieved. Like, how could you possibly, like, think logically, you've managed to make people want to watch you advertising
to them. Yeah.
So much so they're like, oh no, I'm not going to go out tonight because, we're actually going to watch that. And then there's the John Lewis ad is going to be shown in the break on that show. Yeah. It's like, what is, amazing achievement to have made that happen.
Another example is like Super Bowl ads. How different, there's almost more hype around the Super Bowl ads than there is the actual Super Bowl itself. People get excited at the creativity that brands are putting into these adverts that are ultimately, again, selling you stuff.
Yeah.
But I think there's some really strong lessons that marketers and founders of businesses can learn from this. The key thing that, again, we've ingrained in the way that we market with the campaigns we run for our brands is really thinking about the end user first, what they actually care about before trying to sell them stuff, before the objective of the brand. The main objective of most brands trying to market is we want to sell more stuff, get in front of more people and sell more stuff. Whereas what we need to be thinking is, what do those end consumers actually want to see first? What do they care about? Just like the Christmas ads, they want their emotions to be triggered and to feel something. So what do? We'll create an emotive storytelling Christmas advert that really kind of pulls on their heartstrings. Super Bowl ads, what do the people watching those want? They want to be entertained. They want it to be captivating and interesting enough to be able to go out and tell all their friends, like, oh, wow, did you see the Nike advert on the Super Bowl or whatever? It's just a really interesting, and I think that is a really different type of marketing and advertising that not a huge amount of other brands are really tapping into.
Yeah.
Do
you think there are any other brands that you think are doing a really good job with this? And I know obviously some listeners are from they work for big brands like this, and some are kind of founders of smaller businesses or startups. Understandably, might not have the same budget, but there's lots of things we can learn from these brands. I think that we can incorporate.
But Lloyd, when we did that testimonials video that I mentioned in the previous episode, we didn't have a big budget. We're in our parents' garden.
That camera didn't even shoot HD.
Yeah, exactly. Do you know what I mean? Like, you don't need to make those kind of excuses.
Yeah.
In terms of brands, there's some ones I absolutely love. So, Innocent Smoothies is a classic, but more recently, the guy that was, I think, the head of marketing at Innocent Smoothies moved to a cereal company called Surreal, Surreal. Have you seen any of their stuff?
Yeah, I think so.
They've done some really creative campaigns. They recently did a really clever campaign where they basically got people who had this normal members of the public who had the same name as really famous people, and they got them to review their cereal. Yeah. So it was like, Serena Williams says that our cereal is da 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 da.
And in brackets it said like, probably not the one you're thinking of, didn't it?
Yeah. And you just think like, why has that worked? One, it's entertaining and being really clever before trying to sell anything.
Yeah.
There wasn't a massive thing saying, buy our cereal.
Yeah.
It was a really clever, interesting way. And secondly, they really tied it to their brand. Visually, you saw their cereal there. So it had that clever, like, what they sell, but subtly.
But it hooks you in with the celeb's name. Your brain's kind of thinking, I wonder why Serena, for a millisecond, I wonder why Serena Williams eats a cereal. And you have a look at it. And then you realise that it's not that Serena Williams, and you find it funny. And the feeling that you come away with is like, oh, that's actually really funny, the way that's clever. Yeah. And you think of it in a positive way. If it was like, this is Serena Williams' favourite cereal, and then the bracket said, ha, we got you, you fucking idiot. You'd probably go, okay. That's not very nice. But yeah, the fact, being able to hook people in creatively and then leave them feeling positive, even if it's that's quite funny. You know, a positive emotional reaction like that. Oh, that's really clever. Yeah. That's what you want.
It's the exact thing you said, starting the interaction with that positive thing. Oh, wow. Yeah. And it also has that shareability factor and that virality factor of people see that, and because it's so clever and interesting, they want to take a photo and share it on their Insta stories or post it on LinkedIn.
And then the next person on Instagram reads it. Like, oh, that's quite funny, actually. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
What's that? Oh, surreal. Never heard of that. And then it's just that there's a 10% bigger chance that they're going to pick that up in the supermarket. They're going to go, oh, that's that thing I saw. May as well try it. And then obviously the product's got to be good for people to buy it the second time. That's a different episode.
Yeah. Another really good example I love. So I recently did a post sharing some of the really amazing creative campaigns that were put out there during COVID. So I think it was obviously a really tough time, but trying to kind of go down a positive angle, there were some really creative campaigns sort of delivered from the marketing community. One of them I loved was from Bumble. You heard of Bumble, Lloyd?
Yes.
You on it?
No, I don't know anything about it. I've heard of it.
So it's a dating app for those that don't know.
I'm sure if I needed it, I'm sure I'd be just as bad on dating apps as I was in real dating when I was younger.
I agree.
Yeah.
So they just had a really clever print campaign at a bus stop during COVID that basically was really bright in their brand colors. That said, you can tell your grandkids you met when kissing was illegal, which is just like really visually. It was like, I think it was black text on their yellow kind of background of with their logo there. Wasn't overly selling anything.
Yeah.
But it was that like shareability, virality factor that made people think like, and it's related to what they do as well. I think this is another key point. You don't just want to create things that are funny, entertaining, that have nothing whatsoever to do with what you're trying to sell at all.
Yeah.
Like I think you can captivate an audience, but the real like most effective marketing campaigns is where you're tying in that real shareability, virality, interesting factor with what you actually do.
There's two sides of it. There's getting the attention, and then there's leaving people feeling positive about your brand and more likely to purchase or consider purchasing your product or service in the future. I think some brands and some marketers that haven't quite got it right, they have a great idea to get attention and they get the attention, but actually that attention doesn't amount to anything. I think that's like one step, like, right, you're doing a good job, you managed to get attention by being creative from all these people, but then it's kind of wasted when you haven't managed to make people feel positive at the end of it towards your brand and more likely to have an interaction. Quickly on dating, to give listeners a really quick laugh before we go into back into it.
Okay.
My first date with Sarah, about 5 minutes in, a bird shat on my nose. So, just
sorry. How did you like play that one out?
As badly as you would imagine, I think. Just kind of, oh, what's that? And I'm trying to impress this girl with bird shit all over my face. Anyway, back to it. I really thought the listeners would enjoy knowing that.
That would only happen to you. That is horrendous.
Direct hit.
Did anything go in your mouth?
Probably. Don't know why she didn't kiss me at the end of that date. Anyway, back to it. We're talking about Bumble. Any other good examples, Dan, to talk about that I can give horrific stories about?
Another quick example. This is something that we've done. So we get a lot of inspiration from outside of our industry. I've spoken about this before, so I'm not going to go into loads of detail, but there's a TikToker called Jack Joseph who creates these kind of short form vertical videos that tap into Gen Z and millennial culture.
Met him once, he shat on my nose. No, sorry, no stories about Jack Joseph.
Is every story going to relate to that now? And he does this series about what it was like in a GCSE drama class. And it's really, just go and look at his TikTok, you'll see them. And we basically created our own version where we delivered we created an ad for our video and social media marketing agency, really selling what we do, but delivered it in the style of a GCSE drama class. And worked incredibly well, helped us convert like a 50 grand project. And you'll see on my TikTok, there's examples of it as well. You can see that.
One additional part of that, which is part of the kind of creative process we go through with our clients and our own work for our agency as well, is the nostalgia factor. So that GCSE drama video we made promoting our own business got so many engagements of people tagging like people they did GCSE like drama classes with and stuff. You're like waking up that positive emotion, like, oh my God, that's so funny. Drama classes are exactly like that. And when you think of positive things from your childhood, it really, you get a positive feeling. And that, like, and I had someone that was in my GCSE drama class commenting on it and kind of say, oh my God, this brings back so many memories. And I think there's lots of things like that that go into making people enjoy being sold to, which is what we specialize in. And nostalgia is a massive thing that you can use. Just one tactic that you can really use to trigger positive emotions in people.
You had an interesting experience in your drama class, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
I don't know if don't know something you should laugh at or not, but
I suppose you don't really. I don't know the full story because I was a kid at the time, but.
Just one point before you get into it. Yeah. I think, weren't you the only boy in a drama class of like 20 girls and stuff?
Yes.
Okay. So just in context.
Wasn't a player. Yes, Mr. Well, I won't say his name.
Don't say his name.
It rhymed. Yeah, no, can't say that either. Basically, he got fired, and as a kid, you don't really get told he got fired because of this. But something I did find out, like this is quite sinister, but I suppose you got to laugh at these things. When he left and had the next teacher was like, "Oh, have we got to film any more of our classes for the exam board?" And they were kind of like, No, the exam board doesn't need any filming of classes. And it's like, oh, because the old teacher used to film us all the time.
And what was he filming, Lloyd?
Yeah.
And what did he get? What did he get all the girls to do?
Oh, that's a weird thing as well. Right. How is this like? How did this ever happen? He took a group of girls on a train to another town where there was an Ann Summers and bought them all costumes for the school play.
Yeah. What type of costume?
In Ann Summers, which was lingerie. In what world did that? How did that even
And Lloyd was there
happen?
trying on the lingerie.
And do you know the weirder thing? Right? That play went ahead. They had to ban everyone except parents from it because it was obviously so mental. That play went ahead with these girls in lingerie, and there was no one. Sorry, this bit I find there's no one allowed except parents and me because I was serving the beverages. What a creep. Sir, can I serve the drinks? No, you're not family, but they're all going to be so thirsty. But yeah, anyway, that is absolutely mental that that's even a thing. But yeah, I mean, he got fired for obvious, after it's not really hard to get to understand
Getting Lloyd
why
to dress
he
up
got
in burlesque
fired.
outfits.
Yeah,
Did you have
surprisingly,
lingerie?
He didn't take me to get an outfit.
Yeah. Yeah, Lloyd, you stay in the class.
Yeah, very strange. How the hell did we get onto that?
I don't know. So moving on, getting back to so that the way we got onto that, there were some good examples of brands that are getting it right. I guess the summary for that is, why does that marketing work? Why do people enjoy consuming it? Because it doesn't look and feel like a traditional ad. It doesn't look like traditional marketing. It thinks of what the end user wants first and delivers a strategic sales-focused message in a creative way that they enjoy consuming. That's the kind of summary.
Yeah.
What about some brands that maybe haven't got it right? I guess can you think of any? The tap man.
Yeah, I think it's any brand really, and some people do this out of necessity because the business has got to a bad place. But any business that's prioritizing short-term sales over their long-term marketing, and like I said, for smaller businesses or maybe sometimes big corporations, for financial reasons and to survive, they have to prioritize short-term sales. But probably by that point, you kind of know it's too late, really. But yeah, any business that has that priority that isn't looking at the long term is just, how can we quickly get sales this week?
Yeah,
it's probably having a negative effect in the long term.
Yeah, I agree.
I suppose. Yeah, wouldn't want to say examples necessarily of those
don't
businesses.
Shit on people,
but
that bird did.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that bird. Wish that bird had the same thoughts you did.
So I think finally, it's good. Anchors listening who are thinking, right, kind of get it. The process of our customers enjoying the process of being sold to. Lloyd, you've been the brains behind a lot of our most successful campaigns that have made people enjoy the process of being sold to.
Yeah.
We've worked with a B2B brand that we helped win £1 million contract through a LinkedIn ad campaign. That was very much like that. We've helped other B2C brands generate over £2.5 million of e-commerce revenue through doing this. What can anchors who want to apply this kind of marketing approach and get their customers to enjoy the process of being sold to, what can they do? Like, what are the action steps, or why did these campaigns that I mentioned work?
So I suppose what they can do is work with us. But aside from that, using the example of the client we got £1 million contract for last year, that was for a health and safety product. It's, really sounds quite boring, doesn't it? But we really, the main thing that we really got right, we tapped into what the decision makers purchasing health and safety equipment really cared about and what triggered those emotions in them. And we created content around what they really wanted, which was basically the people that they're responsible for going home safe at the end of the day to their families, their wives and their wives. Maybe they've got multiple. their wives, their husbands, their children. And because that's obviously quite an emotion triggering thing. Like, right, I'm responsible for health and safety. If we're telling you, here's a thing that we're proving to you within this content.
With data.
Because there's lots of other clever things we're doing, as Dan said, of showing you data, why this helps you and why this does this. We're proving to you that it's more likely your people you're responsible for, whether that's 20 people or 20,000 people in some of the cases for the leads that we were getting for this business, they're more likely to go home safe to their families. And with those businesses working at scale, like I said, someone might be have the overall responsibility for the safety of 20,000 people worldwide. Because those numbers are so big, it's likely that there could genuinely be deaths or really severe injuries because there's 20,000 people, accidents happen. So it's literally potentially saving people's lives or preventing devastating injuries. So tapping into those emotions, obviously saying, we want to solve this for you, providing data, this is why it does it for you. But also, as we've been talking about the whole time, we wrote scripts and we created content that was entertaining. So we got them in because they were watching something that entertained them. They're like, this seems relevant to me. Oh, this is funny. And then we're communicating, by the way, you're responsible for saving lives. This helps you do it. So obviously there's lots of details that go into that, but making sure you're really speaking to the person that needs to make that purchase decision. You're triggering the emotions you need for them. You're getting their attention by entertaining them. Potentially, maybe not entertaining. Maybe you're just educating them, informing them, or doing something else to keep them engaged. And then using that attention that you've bought with being creative and entertaining to tell them why this product is going to save people's lives or whatever it does. That's how we do it.
I think something quite clever from that campaign, visually, we showed the decision maker going through the process of considering this product and showed them in their work situation where someone brought the gloves to them and showed them. Yeah. So it's getting someone who looks like the decision maker on screen, going through the process you want them to go through, realizing the problem they've got and the impact of that problem, and then a solution that can help them solve that visually. And we did it through a voiceover as well. Yeah. And that,
also we had the real serious emotion triggering of, come on, it's your responsibility to save lives, and this product helps it. So work with us. It makes sense for everyone involved. But we also had the light-hearted entertainment thing of, we had a typical dad that worked on one of these sites that should be using this safety equipment. He was injured, and so he was there, and his daughter had put all makeup on his face and dressed him up as a princess, and that was kind of we're kind of saying, you don't want to be stuck at home for months because you've broken your leg. Look, this is what's going to happen. And obviously it sounds a bit weird. You don't want to spend time with your children. But the reality is we're kind of playing into that. Actually, there's dads out there thinking, oh God, if I was at home for 8 weeks recovering with a broken leg, I need my personal time to not be surrounded by my daughter making me a princess and stuff. So it was that kind of really thinking about those people and triggering those emotions. And as well, because we showed him in full makeup, it's that thing of relatability, going, oh God, yeah, that's what my daughter would do to me if I was stuck at home for weeks. I'd turn into a princess.
What about another example? One of the recent exciting project we've been working on.
Yeah, I suppose not going to say too much because it's a current project, but working for a well-known beverage brand, and it was because it was a popular one in the 90s, and I mentioned earlier about nostalgia. We're really trying to wake up that nostalgic feeling of the 90s when this drink was at its most popular. And we could have gone, I think most marketing agencies and people in marketing would have gone down this route of, okay, right, we've got this drink, so right, what are the health benefits? Okay, tell me how it tastes. But in reality, again, think of your online experience being sold to, seeing ads. Have you ever bought a drink because you've seen an ad that says, tastes like pineapples? Do you like pineapples? Or contains vitamin B? You're like, well, that's probably not going to, probably not even going to look at that.
No.
And that's what the majority of sales and marketing is, just telling me something about the product. Yeah. Oh, you like pineapples? This tastes of pineapple and mango. Yeah. By the way, the drink doesn't taste those. I'm not getting anything away. But yeah, we've gone down the nostalgia route. We've thought of, we're using celebs that were popular in the 90s to wake up that nostalgia. So people are going to be like, oh my God, I remember that guy. He was on this program. Yeah, and I had that drink in my fridge at that point.
Yeah.
And I had a Tamagotchi. Yeah, that was great. You know, those positive emotions, thinking about that. And then maybe next time they're in a supermarket, they'll be like, oh yeah, I saw that ad. I knew that drink was back in supermarkets. I might try it. See what it's like.
On that point, I listened to a recent podcast with Rory Sutherland, and he was talking about how consumers buy with the emotional part of their brain, which is literally explaining what you're talking about. Is they don't look at the vitamin B in it. They think, how does that product make them feel? And that's going to get them to really purchase that product. What he does say is that we also we buy with emotion, but then we rationalize. So, for example, we may say, oh, that product, I remember it from the 90s. I really feel like I want to buy it. And then we rationalize with the things like, oh, it might be slightly healthy. It might taste good. So it's important to have the emotional side and then rationalize it with like product benefits and things. And then go like, oh, it's X% more effective than another brand. Oh, it's this. And then that those things together really make the success.
There's only so much you can do with the marketing. If the product's shit, they might buy it once and then they're never going to be a customer again. So obviously long term, the product needs to be good. You need to be communicating those positive things, like you said. But to initially spark that emotional part of the brain that's going to make them consider buying that in the future, that's there.
It's all about making people feel something, ultimately, isn't it?
And I think to round things up, I think a massive part of this, so we spoke about examples of literally if you're starting a business, you're the only person you're trying to sell to someone in a room, or you're a massive brand that has millions in budget and you're looking at your advertising campaigns. I think it all comes down to, are you just taking, as in, I'm going to take your attention and your money, I'm going to try and sell to you? Or is the relationship, I'm giving you this. This is going to make you feel good. This is entertaining. This is going to educate you a bit. Oh, and by the way, if you want to buy this, you can do that too. It's a two-way thing, whatever.
So do you give or take when you're doing marketing campaigns?
Both.
Okay, good.
Yeah. But we all have met those people and those businesses that are all about take, you know, businesses that are all about profit and don't care about their customers, or people that are all about me, and don't give a shit about you. We all hate them. Oh, sorry, that sounds really harsh. We don't.
We all want them to die.
We don't like those experiences, and long term, we're not going to want that relationship, whether it's with a person or whether it's with a brand, a product, a service, whatever.
Yeah.
So I think, in summary, make sure it's a two-way relationship in your giving them something and not just expecting, oh, if I do this, they're going to pay me loads of money for stuff.
And also, in summary, subscribe to the podcast.
Yeah, that's the main thing. And work with us, and we'll get you £1 million contract.
Yeah. Now.
Yeah. Well, I've already got it for you. So just get in touch if you want it. I suppose in seriousness, if you actually are someone who wants to discuss how you can work in this kind of way, you know where we are. We're always open to talk. And I suppose, if you got on the phone to us or you emailed us, whatever, or you DM'd us, and then we just tried to sell to you, that would be rubbish, wouldn't it? You know we're not going to do that now because of this whole episode.
Exactly.
Yeah. We're going to have a lovely conversation and give you more value than we receive.
Yes.
Givers and takers. Takers and givers.
I enjoyed that episode. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Yeah. I hope you enjoy. Oh, fuck.
Oh, we've broken him.
Quick, end it then. I've broken.
We'll see you in your ears next week.